This
Yes.
song, okay, yeah, it's called Hello Claire. It comes out on June 20th. I just got the master back this week and it is so beautiful. I mean, my friend Brennan and I have been working for the last 7 months, I think, back and forth. He lives in LA and I'm here in South Florida, so it's like between the time change, exactly.
Yeah, that's
So we
3 hours
finally got
difference.
it 3 hours difference and like me trying to explain melodies that I hear in my head. I'm like, maybe try it on like the bass guitar, maybe, I don't know. And I like would voice memo a melody and Brendan would be like, let me see what I can arrange. And we made magic happen. And so
Of
that song
course.
comes out, yes, on the 20th. It is called Hello Claire. I did just release an acoustic live session of me performing the song. That I also dropped that a few days ago, and that's an acoustic stripped down version of that. But yeah, the studio version comes out so soon. So exciting. And the album art is great. I'm just so
You
excited for
you
everyone to see it. I'm just like, go get it.
okay, like the thing that people don't understand about Leah, and I mentioned this the last time we talked, right? You and those photo shoots, okay? This gal over here like has like these like Met or Vogue style photo shoots, and I'm just like,
I
it's
really appreciate
amazing.
you saying that. So very nice. Um,
Right?
wow,
I don't
thank
know
you.
who your
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know who your photographer is, but damn.
His name is Ian Rowan usually, but I also do a lot of work with Roberto Badillo, whose name is Spin Style, his handle. A lot of my
Damn.
last couple of photo shoots have been with him, but like all my album art is with Ian Rowan. And but I'm like working with new artists and people, and like I said earlier, I was part of a fashion show last week, and I just dropped like a little sneak preview video of that. Um, it's so funny because I got this whole video of me walking the catwalk on the runway, and I am like wearing shoes that are arguably too big for me, and I'm already pigeon-toed, so like I was wearing these big ass boots, and I'm like kind of clunky or whatever. But then I get to the end where it's like the photo session, and I kill it. So I was like, let's just take that little section, and that'll be the real. Anyways, the point being that I'm like saying yes to other modeling opportunities and working with different artists, and so it's been really fun and creative. And I've been doing stuff outside of my box, which I think is a wonderful way to grow. And so I be growing.
I think it's also really good, especially like collaborating, because something I love seeing is collaboration, not only in the artist world, but how well it works. Okay. You see this so many times, right? It's not where like artists are conflicting with one another. It's like almost like a blend. It's like getting like the right ingredients when you're making cake, you know. I don't know. You're
Oh
just
yeah, oh
yeah.
yeah. To make the cake, you need your oil, you need your eggs.
You need
I
your
mean, guess where's
flour.
the flour? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You need your flour. Speaking of flour, I see you over there.
I'm trying to light this over here and this thing is just like, nah. I'm like, come on, come on.
Come on, buddy, you can do it. You got this. Light, light, light. That looks good. Looks promising.
Ooh.
Is she good? She looks good. No, no, no. Maybe I jinxed it. Oh, she's good. She's
It's
good.
good. South Florida, you know, good A
Humidity.
quality vape store, Delta 8.
That's that D8. I have my medical card. It's amazing.
Isn't it? Oh no.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's like,
I get a sunburn out here. Like sometimes whenever I have a chance. I don't know if you've been out to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like
Yeah.
sunburn. It is a little further away from me, but I have popped in there a couple times.
You go to the one in Fort Lauderdale or the one in West Palm?
Fort Lauderdale. I'm rarely in West Palm. Oh my gosh.
So they
Only
have
if I
one.
have to.
So they have one in West Palm and they have one out in Fort Lauderdale. And something that like was so interesting to me was I don't know if you know who the singer is. I went into the one that was in West Palm and all of a sudden like they were playing Nico. You know from the Velvet Underground, Nico. She was with okay, so her name is Nico. She's this singer that was a part of the Velvet Underground, which was like what's his name? John Cale. Um Trying to think who else was in there. Ugh, when my brain like works properly. Anyway, they were playing this band like it's like from the proto punk era, like from like the 1960s, like late 60s. And I was just like, who chose this playlist? And he's like, it just plays randomly. I'm like, what do you what do you mean randomly? You know, like this is the kind of like you know what I mean? Like there are songs like feels like somebody purposely put this on the playlist. Didn't
Yeah.
just yeah, right?
I'm like, so the math is too good here.
Way too good.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't trust
Have
anything.
you seriously never heard of Nico?
No, I mean, like I've heard of the Velvet Underground, obviously, but like Nico, I think of like Nico and Medicine for the People or whatever the band is.
All right, let me find this for you cuz I think you would like I love this kind of stuff like those like artists and stuff from like a bygone era that like everybody kind of forgets who they are. You know, it's kind of like why we have like online streaming and stuff. Think about it in the sense like you even said earlier where you're able to collaborate with an artist that's all the way in LA,
Yeah,
right? So we live in a time where like you could theoretically like just tap into a completely different market.
100%. It's like anything is, I mean, there are no limits, is what I'm trying to say. Like anything's possible. You can do it all. There are no rules.
Yeah.
I
I'm like,
see. Here's a little link.
yeah, that's Nico. Nico.
Oh, I see chat. Okay, this is a cool website.
Yeah, it is. I I think we talked about this earlier before, but like I did change over a lot of stuff since we last recorded. Um it's so strange, right? Because I've had it's like felt like such a short period of time and I even know for yourself like so many things have like changed in that amount of time. You know, when you start to like think back of all of the things that you've accomplished in that time frame, you're just like, damn,
Isn't that crazy? I know.
right.
I think about like n- our last interview feels like perhaps it was just yesterday to me. And I'm like, oh, that was almost 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And you're right. In the time in between, it's been like whole lives have happened. I've lived 100 lives.
New pets or same pets?
Same one perfect pet. My cat, Piku, similar to Nico, kind of. Piku, Nico. Um,
Same realm.
she's amazing. Yeah, I did get married, so as you know. Um,
Congrats.
thank you so much. That's a big life step, and I'm still getting used to being wife and calling my husband my husband. I'm like, my boyfriend. I mean, my husband. My
a
husband.
little adjustment
Um,
right there. You
yeah,
know?
it's fresh. It's been not even 2 full weeks, so um,
Do you
yeah,
think
that and
do you think
good.
that do you think that experience like has like sparked something in you in like regards to create because I know we talked about this before like those periods where you have spark of creativity where you're starting to get new ideas to create music like I know for you especially you play acoustic guitar so a lot of the times when you're coming up with melodies and stuff it's an easy way of just grabbing the guitar and just like and then like figuring something out like from there.
Yeah, yeah. So I do find inspiration from every moment of my life, but with the wedding specifically, I guess there's this sense of like I have my person now for the rest of the days, and so regardless of what those days hold, I'm not scared anymore. Does that make sense? I just feel safe and good, and now I feel comfortable and safe in all the aspects of my life to be able to kind of
You feel more in
release
tuned.
art. Yes, I feel more in tune and more
Okay.
authentically myself, and more open to letting myself be, not
Okay.
worrying so much about perfecting the track or whatever.
Hmm. You know, something I was talking over with somebody the other day, which is really interesting, right? Is a lot of the times, even for myself, we sometimes get into this mindset of when you're creative, when you're artistic, that life is more valuable. Being able to pay your income, being able to give yourself success, stability, and all of those things are the most important things. But I think the thing that gets missed the most is you as a person in that whole equation, because you can be successful and passionate and do things that you love and still be able to bring in income. There are ways of still being able to have that outlet. Even in your case, having a partner and somebody there that's be able to share that experience with you. It's just they're not a thing that you could buy on Amazon, and
Oh
get
my gosh,
2 day
no.
shipping.
They are relationships that you gotta work your ass off to keep beautiful and magical, and it is a two-way street all about respect and understanding and love and acceptance and wanting to grow together and being your best self, not only for each other, but for yourselves. You know what I'm saying? You can't, you can't make somebody want to be better for themselves. They have to want to be the best version of themselves. And I feel like I am found this wonderful partnership where it's like I want to be every ounce of wonderful and magic as I can because he helps me see that there is that magic in the world. We're like soupsters in love.
It's weird because, you know, sometimes for a lot of, even for myself, one of the earliest phases of being able to get that is that experience of even getting from your own pets, which is very much unconditional love. And we tend to, and I had somebody on this podcast, we were talking about this too, like animals teach us so much about human relationships because in the end of the day, we are animals. We are mammals, in every sense of that word. And there are things that, even for example, like with horses or cows or cats or dogs, even birds, where you learn that language isn't the only level of communication. We realize that your presence, your aura, your energy, your mood,
Energy.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things affect the people around you. And
100%.
I told
I'm
you,
so
we're,
big
we're going
into
deeper this
energy.
time.
I know, I know. And I've been seeing all these memes lately that are like, the people who can, you don't have to like talk to animals, obviously. I mean, I do talk to animals,
Of
but
course,
like, not to
Twix,
brag, but like,
Twix.
the animals that are like drawn to you. I don't know. They're not. Let's say there's three people in the room. A cat will go to one of the three. Like that's me. I'm that person in the room. I feel like. And not everyone has that energy, but it's something to be so sensitive towards, I think. I think it's like just being like, hello, greetings. This is a safe person. I don't have food or anything fun to offer you, but it is all peace and love.
They
Or if I do have a treat, I will give it to them because I love giving animals treats.
my little fluff ball, she likes to share stuff that I'm eating.
Yeah,
And I just sometimes I'm like, honey, I can't give you some of this stuff because like I know you're gonna. And sometimes she'll just want to see what's in the bowl. Okay,
yeah,
like I just have to bring it down, and she looks and she's like, okay, I'm done. I just wanted to see what you're doing.
yeah. My
And
cat still wants to smell my coffee every morning. I'm like, this isn't for you, girl. Like, this would kill you, I think.
but you know what? Something I've realized also we don't realize even in relationships. Okay, whether in your case, like for example, you have a partner or you have like a really close friend, they'll have moments like that with you where they'll just watch you or they'll get curious in what you're doing, and then like you get into the zone and they're like, "What are you playing?" And you're like, what? Yeah, what are you playing? And you're like, you have that brief moment, like, oh my god, like people are actually like paying attention to what I'm doing. And I think that that is something really powerful, right? Because you don't just see that all the time.
Yeah, I remember like the first time I heard that tale of if you feel your ear itch, it means someone's talking about you, I think is the thing. I think it's
Ooh.
what it is. Yeah, I heard that when I
Oh,
was
okay.
younger, and I was just like, oh, they must be talking about me. Oh. Like fucking just wanting to be the center of everyone's attention all the time. She's like, oh, ears are scratching. Maybe it's not lice. Maybe it's just that I'm so cool. Um, I've actually had lice twice.
Wow.
Uh, yeah.
True story.
Once, yeah, once as an adult. Wait, hold on. I think I've had lice 3 times.
Oh my god. You're like,
I,
let me
I didn't
let
know
me
we were
just
gonna
spill the
get this
beans
deep.
right now. I've had lice 3 times. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say two for sure. Third one, I don't know if I actually ever got it, but we treated it as if I did. The first time was in middle school. My friend, like my best friend, she was on the girls' soccer team, like a traveling soccer team, and
Oh, of
she
course.
had, soccer practice every night, whatever. And we had a sleepover one weekend, and her mom called my mom and was like, "Well, Rachel has lice, so." And then my mom was like, "Well, Leah has lice, so." So that was the first time. And then the second time, we're both from other people's children. I used to be a nanny, so the first case was I was babysitting a little girl who I found out I had lice, and then we had to like clean everything and put all her stuffed animals in trash bags to suffocate any of the lice that were living in them and like spray everything. It was insane. And then the third time was for my niece and nephew. I don't even know how I got it that one. I just snuggle them all the time. I love them. So,
Oh my god.
so yeah.
I feel like if Bob Dylan was in the room right now, he would just like get that inspiration of like, oh my god, I gotta write a lice song. I'm like, Bob,
No,
don't. I know you're old, man. Like, don't end your
no,
career with a freaking lice song.
I'm like, is that my ticket to fame? I write a kids album and like one of the
Oh
songs is featuring a track on lice, how to get it out.
my god. So,
Yeah.
kids, this is the time I got lice 3 times.
So
Cause of
I guess
you!
it's been about like 3 years since I've had lice, so pretty good, pretty good.
Oh my god.
Wow. I love
Oh.
admitting that. I'm not even embarrassed actually. It's fine.
No. I literally, well, okay, like on a very like serious note, like completely off the note of like, um, I had, I literally had an HIV scare for like a year. Okay, yeah, when I was like living in Israel, like back in like 2018. See, I grew up in a religious community, so I didn't really understand what STDs are. Okay, so I basically had like unprotected. Okay, yeah, all right. So
Yeah.
and then like 6 months down, I started like having symptoms. And then I had a friend of mine, like I was starting like getting coughing, and I was having like a hard time breathing and stuff. And she was like, "You should get tested." And I'm like, "What do you mean tested?" And she's like, "You ever heard of like?" And I had like the conversation of STDs when I'm like 18 years old. Okay,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
And it was just like one of those situations. And then like obviously I got tested. I was perfectly fine. Like everything was okay. But I'm like, hello, where have been the adults since I'm 18 to tell me like this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
you
reality?
needed to know about that a little sooner, I'd say.
Crazy.
Oh, that's hard.
Your life's
That's
free. I'm HIV free. Thank the Lord.
thank goodness.
Yeah, but yeah, it's so it's so weird because like this is stuff like I honestly like I've always been like afraid and stuff, but you know what? We run into like sometimes the most wildest medical scenarios. And you don't even plan to be there. You're just like the person sitting there in the doctor's office, and then they finally call you. And like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, unless you're going for preventative care, like every visit to the doctor is a surprise. Like, y- in case of emergency, oh no, here I've ended up. That sucks. Um, I I had a lot of people that I know get into accidents this month, like last month. May was a really rough one.
Car
Two
accidents?
scooter accidents and one car accident, all in South Florida, all in Miami, all on the beach, I believe, too. If not
Wow.
just Miami. Yeah.
I think that should say something about Miami's citation and traffic control, and
Yeah, and just
yeah.
people not looking or paying attention, or I don't know. Unfortunately, one of them, the car accident, was an acquaintance, I would say, of mine. I met her only once or twice, but she was in a group of friends that I'm a part of, and she passed away though. She was hit by a drunk driver. Um, I don't know the date, but it was like last week sometime, I think. Um, and it just goes to show that you never fucking know. Literally, I was looking at pictures of this girl in Italy, like she was on vacation, and then 2 days later, not even it felt like RIP. And it's just like unfathomable almost, right? You see it and you're just like, no, because she's there on the social media, so she's alive. And it's just so heartbreaking. And
I
it's
I don't like. I don't mean to kill the mood, but it's amazing on how we demonize psychedelics, we demonize cannabis, but yet we glorify like medical grade cocaine and methamphetamines and alcohol. And it's like alcohol has killed more people than cannabis has in its entire existence in this country.
100%.
And it's just baffling to me that like nobody takes a message. Like we have some of the loosest regulations on alcohol, the loosest. Like seriously, you could be a poor ass human being in this country and get drunk and kill somebody, easy. Try doing
Easy.
that with weed, yeah, good luck. Unless you're
Yeah.
like have a psychotic break, which is kind of rare, but yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully the weed would just make you not want to kill anyone anymore, whereas like alcohol would be like, yeah, feed the flame. It's like
Yeah,
weed would be like, hey, maybe let's think twice about murder.
isn't it interesting though? Like a lot of cases where people get like killed in alcohol like DUI like situations, they tend to survive, but the person that they hit usually dies. Like the person that's under the influence of alcohol like lives.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess the impact of I don't know why the reason is bad things happen to good people. Uh, yeah. My brother-in-law was hit by a drunk driver when he was a kid.
A shame.
Um,
Damn, we went down
yeah.
a dark hole. Jesus.
Yeah, we did. But it's a good lesson to know because we need to encourage people to stop fucking drinking and driving because people are fucking dying. So like just be more responsible
Yeah.
and smoke more pot. It's not that fucking hard.
Do more shrooms, man.
My brother is in a wheelchair, by the way, so that is how that story ended. He was 12 on his way to Dairy Queen with his mom and his sister and his cousin, and they got hit by a drunk driver, and so now he is 40 something years old and still in a wheelchair for the last 30 years. So don't do that. And then the girl that I know is dead. So this is
Yeah.
like a PSA and also we're gonna move on. Love and peace and don't do it.
No, and it's just look, I'll tell you something honestly, and just on the spin of like being an artist. When you deal with artists that have that more open mind of thinking, be able to be more comfortable with alternative healing, holistic healing, more of a better way of how we can live lives. That really stems not only in how you are creatively, but who you are externally and who you are internally. And I feel that's becoming more and more rare these days. You know, being creative doesn't mean you have to always be political. Okay, you don't have to stand there to stive a message. Like, holy shit, man, just be you. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I think art's allowed to just be, you know?
Just
Not
be.
everything needs to have a clear message. It can just be expression, and that's enough. People always want to find definitions for things, and it's like, not everything needs that. Just let it exist and be mysterious and don't figure it out. It's fine.
No, and you know what? That's why, honestly, like, I don't know if we talked about this the last time, but one of like my all-time like favorite modern records, like albums, was from David Bowie, his last album, which was Black Star, and solely for the
Huh.
fact that his last hurrah is his eulogy. It's just I don't know, but like it's the ultimate like message of like here who this is who I am as an artist. This is who is me as a creative individual, and this is how I want to leave the world.
Yeah, and
And
like I know I'm going, and here we go. Like, oh my God. I remember the day that David Bowie died, and I just laid in my bed, like with the covers over me, and listened to that album. And I haven't listened to it since. It
it's
was
very
like I
hard.
was way too fucking depressed. I was like, I can't revisit it. Now maybe enough time has passed, but I remember being very, very affected by that.
They're hard. The truth is, they're hard albums and they're hard songs to listen. Like even with Leonard Cohen, like his last album, it's because like you're hearing their dying voice. You're hearing them giving out everything, like even spiritually, like everything that's left in their soul that's powering this, and they're pouring that into here. And this is not like a divine Jesus moment of art. It's just the amount of self-expression. It's like how much of you actually is making this. Like there is something spiritually going on there. Like you're taking a part out of your soul to make this, right? It feels that way.
Hmm. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe you're taking it without even subconsciously doing it, right? It's almost like we go back to baking that cake. I'm like creating the different parts in my mind, maybe. What I've really, so speaking of cakes, been excited about is like I'm joining all these different opportunities, clubs, whatever, creative endeavors with people and meeting a lot of people and not really expecting anything in return from it other than just like, I want to hear about your experiences. Who are you? Are we connecting? Are we connecting? I'm part of a chorus now, all these different things. And I'm realizing these are all parts of what is fueling my art to come. And like all the relationships I'm building now are going to create the stories of like, the next 10 years of my music. It's like the long-term recipe. Maybe it's like a sourdough, you got to let it sit overnight. I don't know, life's crazy.
It is crazy, and you know what? I think that's the most beautiful fact about it is we don't get to control every single aspect of our lives, but we get to shape and mold them and define them as we go along with them. You
Yeah,
know,
there's always those surprises, and our response to those surprises are what define our journey, I guess.
there is, and a lot of the times you can, and I feel this too, where you feel hopeless. You feel like you're not going anywhere, and you start moving into a direction that's actually working. And then you start to doubt yourself and believe that you can actually accomplish this because let's be real, I've had where I've been kicked enough times by the curb that you just got to say, well, how is this time going to work out any different, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard when, if at first you don't succeed, you gotta dust yourself off and try again. But what happens when you try again 50 fucking times? Do you go for 51 or do you stop? I don't know. It's so tricky. like I think about the specific example of my friend Joseph Capol. I don't know how to say his last name, and if he ever listens to this, I'm sorry, Joe. But he is a producer and an engineer, and he makes a lot of music. Um, and two of his songs just actually were in that Oscar-winning, I believe, movie, Nora. And the two songs that he had placed in that movie were tracks that he had written like years ago that have been out in the world for a couple of years. And so the fact that they got recognition later and like proper placement, it just really gave me some hope, that maybe it's not that what I'm doing isn't great. It's just perhaps its home hasn't yet been found beyond with me. I feel like I'll hold on to all these things until they're ready to find their way into other people's
People
lives, which
also.
I guess they do already. They are, but like we need total world domination.
No, and I,
Are you
you know,
okay? I saw you coughing during that, but I was having like a really
no,
big
no,
moment,
no.
so
It is. This is very good. This
you're
is.
just getting ripped over there.
Yeah, man. Like, come on. I, I'm telling you, I strive so much as an artist, being able to see the accomplishments of others. Something that somebody told me that like I never even realized was, she told me like, you realize you're like one of the best people to talk to, and I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you just have a way of how you talk to people that really like shines true of who they are. And it's not just about the person who I'm talking to. It's about being able to have those connections in your life. Like you said, there's so many things that you can pour yourself out to and allow to blossom. And you don't have to always focus if those things ever going to happen. You just have to focus on pushing forward and being able to say down the road, yeah, I remember that. I'm really happy for you, and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
creating
like just
trees.
doing what feels right, you know. I saw a great post today that said something like, if it takes away the sparkle in your eyes, it's not worth it. And I felt so deeply. I resonated with that. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm kind of done wasting my energy on things that aren't fulfilling my creative endeavor drive. Like, time is short and there's a lot I want to do. and oh,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do my very best to get them done. And I'm really knocking them off the list. I mean, as we have discovered in the 2 years that it's been since we've chatted, it's like, okay, married, music released, I don't know, fashion show. I mean, you gotta see this video. My makeup is insane. They have like black vines growing out of my eyeballs. It's insane.
You had a Billie Eilish moment. Is that what you're saying?
The kids might say that. They might.
Look, I think, you know, one thing I will like, kudos to Billie Eilish is her bringing back that avant-garde, I don't know, that noir that we got from like people like Kim Wilde, you know, or Pat Benatar. Um what's her name? Kate Bush is a great example of that too. I don't know, like that glamazon, that like darkness you got from those queens from the 80s.
It's like a soft darkness almost. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like a darkness that's like smudged for the smoky eye on the end, not just like the stark black line.
Gotta get that in
Like, is
black
that
and
too
white.
too deep?
No, I'm serious. I love the portrayal of like mixing elements of even like music and art together. That's why I feel like music videos are sometimes masterpieces in itself, because it's not just the music. It's like the whole ambiance of the whole experience. It's just,
Music videos used to be so good. I mean,
I
I'm sure they're still
know.
creating some good ones, but like I don't follow them anymore. Back in the day, back
They were
in the day when I
amazing.
was a kid,
You two
the early
had some really good.
2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, you two had some really good ones too. Oh,
You
I
too.
know.
I mean, Britney Spears, come on. The Toxic music video, she's on a plane.
I
She's
know,
perhaps murdering people? I don't know.
right? Or
It's like fifth grade, like, damn, what's she doing, Brittany?
like Black Eyed Peas, where I got a
Oh my
feeling.
god. I was literally listening to Fergie earlier.
Really?
Isn't she's Black Eyed Peas, right? Fergie?
Yes, Fergie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is my camera going blurry? It looks blurry now, but I don't know if that's me or just the lighting.
It could possibly be the lighting, but do keep in mind it does record our track separately. So
Okay, great.
yeah. So we're gonna look nice and kosher and clean afterward. But right now we look kind of awful and shit. But
We look amazing all the time.
yes, all the time and every time. It's just sometimes technology doesn't want to prove that it is true.
It is.
It is indeed. Indeed. You need indeed. Not sponsored.
So any other fun guests coming on or anyone you're excited about that you would like to have on?
Well, I do have this guy coming on from Canada. He's a filmmaker. His name is Jays. And something I didn't realize about the filmmaking industry. So, something just being able to talk with other people. Right now, independent indie filmmaking, as well as the underground music scene, is kind of booming right now, especially with streaming and like,
Very nice.
yeah. So, a lot of films that are becoming more successful these days are being made by these Canadian film houses that are working alongside with other creators here in the United States and in Europe. And he was basically talking about where there's becoming now this ever so more of a push of actually making movies more movies. Like, no political ties, no agendas, none of this crap. Like, it's a
Just
movie.
movies. Yeah, my
Yeah.
husband and I talk all the time about how, like, God, do you remember when movies were just 90 minutes and perfect? They just don't do that anymore. Everything's got to be 2 hours and 47 minutes. I'm like, why must you do that to me?
Yeah, and you know
I,
what? They. Okay, I'm going to go on a little tangent here for a second. They. I watched the new Lilo and Stitch movie. I don't know if you have,
oh
but
my God, no, but I want to. So, but go ahead.
okay, no spoilers. But one spoiler, which I think is important to throw out there, is they changed Ohana.
How?
So you know how it's Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. Yeah, they forgot. They took out or forgotten part
Oh.
because now Lilo's older sister goes to college in the end. This is very well. This is very like. It's even in the beginning of the movie they start talking about her going to college. But
Well,
like,
what happens to Lilo if her sister goes to college? No spoilers. Do I need to see it?
you should definitely
It's not that
see
big
it.
a deal.
But the problem, okay, see, this is the problem too, right? Is especially where you're making all of these remakes, okay? Is a lot of these franchises, even like Lilo and Stitch, has already had other movies and other stuff that's already been made. It's like we've gotten 100 West Side Stories, we've gotten 100 Star Is Born, like we've gotten hundreds of remakes of the same movies over and over again.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, honey, but I'm getting sick and tired of it. Okay,
Yeah,
like
we need some freshies. Come on. And I know they're out there. I think it's people are having a hard time finding their audience, and so access to good writing is being looked over, maybe, or I don't know what the issue is.
I think it has honestly, like I'm not trying to get like a lot of it has to do with agenda. There's like an agenda that plays where you can't say certain things or you can't make certain things a certain way because of. But then you get people like Wes Anderson that just throws out these psycho movies that make absolutely no sense and they like are
And they're
smashing
amazing.
successes, which he's coming out with coming out in a couple of months. So I'm just like, okay, but he can do it. Quentin Tarantino can do it. All right, Martin Scorsese's old. Kudos to the man. He's
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. We don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
continue,
I get what you're saying though.
right?
I think it's coming, maybe. It's gotta be coming. There's people like I think there's a demand for it. It's going to be a matter of time before there's funding for it and someone will write it. Who knows?
But that's what I'm saying is
Maybe it'll be us. Just
oh, you're not wrong. Like indie
do it all.
podcaster over here, South Florida superstar over here. Like I don't
We decided
know.
to be
Like
directors.
I'll take producer
We just,
with the Mercedes rental, please. Please,
yeah,
please.
please
It's a little heart.
give him the rims.
Yes, and the engine. Vroom vroom. You just want to go around the corners. But I, from what I've seen so far, the independent industry has really been booming and really kind of focusing on this more and more, creating more of these stories. Um, and I'll be straight, if the mainstream doesn't really get their shit together, they're gonna have to get along with these independent film houses because people are gonna see what they want to see. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the fact that you have the ability to stream and post things with just the flick of a wrist just goes to show
I
you, like,
know. Do you remember back in the day? I keep
back
saying
in the
that
day.
shit. That's so
Back in
funny.
the day.
But
Oh, I love that shit. Hashtag back in the day. Yes.
back in the day, the early 2000s, when Netflix used to be on DVD and
Yeah, they
you
used
would
to
get it in the
mail them to
mail.
you. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, we've come a long way.
I was on a date with somebody and I was telling him that, and we both remember this. 'Cause I'm 26. I remember watching Lilo and Stitch on VHS because I remember as a kid growing up in the early 2000s, like Blockbuster used to have this thing where if you had a membership and you wanted to watch the new releases, they would charge you a fee. Okay, this is wild. They charge you a fee if you take it out on DVD. So you take it on
Uh,
VHS and it was covered by your membership. So we just played VHS because it was cheaper, you know? And we take this stuff for granted so much because now it's just pop up Netflix on your TV and you can watch whatever you want. We both remember we're like, girl, you gotta go to Blockbuster and change out the
yeah, and like
DVDs.
how fun it was too, though, to go. Like I
Popcorn,
remember,
popcorn.
yes, I was like, God forbid my mom allow me to pick out a candy. Like, whoa! It'd be like we would get like two movies for the weekend, and we were a family of six, and it was like, okay, my parents are gonna pick out something they want, and then we're gonna get a family movie. So like, I never got a vote. I was the youngest. I'd be like, whatever, I'll watch anything. But like sometimes I'd be able to pick out candy. And that was my special treat.
Did you get like pick out like Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas? Because I definitely was one of those that did that.
Oh man, I was so scared of that movie. That was like my
Really?
sister's favorite, yeah, and I am it's still one of her favorites, and I'm just like I don't like claymation that much. It gives me like a yucky feeling. Like James and the Giant Peach, that movie fucked me up when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean that movie honestly fucked up a lot of us, like badly.
Coraline, all of those. Claymation is just I'm scarred. I don't
Okay,
know.
Coraline was another level of insanity. Okay, the button eyes.
Yeah, I know. It was a little deeper than just the claymation. Like at least, Nightmare Before Christmas has like great soundtrack and like, it's fun. But
I To be honest though, like for me, it was very much the Renaissance era for Disney. You know, and that kind of period, like I don't know, there was something. I love like electrical and technology. Like I don't since the last time we spoke, like I'm actually in vocational school right now training to be a BMW technician. Uh
wow.
yeah, I found my passion in cars, so yeah, baby. Watch
Oh,
out.
so cool.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. So I love especially like 3D animation and seeing how far it's come, and I remember watching Toy Story 2. Remember Toy Story 2? And that was the most incredible thing because it felt like the toys that we had around us. Like it felt like our toys.
Yeah.
It added some like really beautiful. I don't know. It it made childhood feel more sweet, even though it was kind of a psycho
Yeah.
story. Like in the end, you're like, holy shit, that toy is
I know
fucking.
there's so many elements of that in like children's media from our childhood. It's like, oh, okay, like some of the commercials I'll watch and it'll be like, this feels like a weird fever dream. You know, you always see like people on Instagram posting commercials from the 90s and it'd be like, oh, if you fell asleep with the weather channel on, you would wake up to this commercial or whatever. Anyways,
You know what? You know what? Okay, look, it's not about like the TV and the shit. It honestly is just the culture and the vibe that we grew up in. We grew up in a culture and a vibe was, even though I grew up in like a cult community and more like conservative and closed, but you're constantly surrounded by like this open attitude of, try something new, try something different, do something bold. Have, I mean, heck, we got movies like The Iron Giant. You remember that? Or
yeah.
Dogs Go to Heaven is another one. Like, they were crazy stories, but I don't know, they fueled us as kids.
Yeah. Ugh, Oliver and Company.
Yes! Oh my god. You get me, girl. Yes.
Girl, I know. I can't believe it took us this long to get this call back together. I'm like, we should be doing this more often.
No, but seriously, like, even the. Look, I'm one of those, like, I love the music scene, especially, like, from the 80s and 90s, especially, like, R&B. And it's because, like, people forget this. Like, there was a time where it was just so lyrical and poetic, you know? Even if you're, like, listening to Salt and Pepper,
Oh,
shoot,
salt and
shoot,
pepper's here.
yeah, or shoot ba doo, do ba
Shoo-ba-doo,
doo ba doo ba doo.
shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo.
But you see what I mean? Like there was this like beautiful element of where you could just throw in a tape or throw it into the CD player and just like zone out, like just live into your own boredom. Like we don't do that shit no more. We don't have like where we get bored and we just like throw on our headphones, or just like throw in that tape and just like zone out or whatever.
Zone out. No one does that anymore. I remember being in high
Right.
school and I took this one class called Current Music, and in it it was a really cool class actually, but I just remember on the first day, one of the things the teacher asked was, does anyone ever just sit and listen to music? Not listen to music while you are doing your homework or doing the dishes, but like just do that. And I was one of only two people who rose their hand. I was like, yeah, I do that. No, what else just listens? I'm like, I would just lay in my bed with my headphones on and put on my iPod because I had an iPod
I did
because
too.
those were those times.
Uh-huh.
And I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna listen to John Mayer or whatever, and I'm gonna just sit here and not like think about boys or whatever. I don't know.
It
Boys
was
and girls?
You know what? Honestly, though, it was like personal because like your iPod was like your own like music memory in a physical
Yeah.
device. Like, okay, just throwing it out there for these kids these days that they don't understand this. Okay, they were damn expensive. All right, they weren't like cheap. Like you couldn't be like, "Mom, can I buy an iPod?" And they'd be like, "It's three hundred
And if
eighty nine
you did
dollars."
not, yeah, if you didn't know how to illegally download your music, like that shit was $1 per song. Like, what, you're gonna listen to the same 12 songs because that's all your 14-year-old ass can
And
afford?
no one's gonna teach you how to burn CDs, okay? Like your older
No.
brother's not gonna be like, "Yeah, come here, let me show you like where to put it." Like, nah,
Like, my older siblings, I think, did too. I don't know who taught me. One of them had to because I did burn a lot of CDs. I
we
did.
had to burn CDs, honey. Like, who's
A
paying 99
lot.
cents per song?
Like, I mean, what, making a Spotify playlist is a romantic gesture, I guess, but like making a fucking burned CD, I can't even imagine a cassette tape. I mean, that's before my time. But the CD, at least, like, how très romantique.
You needed a mix player to make a tape mix, and like
Yes.
that shit required skill. Like, you needed one of those professional boxes with the dual like decks, and like you need to know what switches and knobs. Like you
And you gotta know where you're playing the songs from. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
you had to be like the coolest person to date back in the day. If you pick somebody up in a VW Rabbit Cabriolet with a convertible top and you mixed your own tapes,
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
the shit, man.
Yeah, you'd have like some pre-rolled joints too in the center console. You would just be like, I got it. Don't worry, I got
I
it.
got you. I got more mixtapes. Like when we come back to my place, I'll make you another. And you're just like,
I'll make you
damn.
your own mixtape.
Have you okay?
Oh,
Serious note right now. Have you thought about making a mixtape?
what do you mean?
Like,
Like just
yeah, like have you thought of like maybe like making like a collage? Like if you could make your own modern interpretation of a mixtape, maybe even with your own music. Like, what would that look like? I don't know why. I'm like curious. I want to peck your brain at this.
yeah, I feel like nowadays it would be probably more what's the message, behind it. So the playlist would have like I think a lot about opening and closing tracks. Then I think about like the climax, like the 70% mark. I'm like, what's the big thing that happens there? And then the other stuff's kind of just filler. So I don't know what would be on the playlist. I guess it would be dependent on who it is for and what it is for.
Okay, what about you right now in the present moment, the way that you're feeling, your present aura, where your mind is at? That that is the emotion that you're packing into this mixtape.
It would be like Ella Fitzgerald Gold album. Like just really like you see all these candles, but I'm like cozy
Oh,
as fuck.
I
After we get off this phone call, I am headed up to the showers. I'm hitting the showers. I'm gonna get my PJs on. I'm gonna eat some brownies. I made brownies with peanut butter chips in them.
so peanut butter brittle basically.
It's like Reese's peanut butter brownie.
Then they're not the 8 miles high. No,
They're not special brownies. No, no, I'm
no.
just gonna smoke a joint before I hop in the shower. I smoked a joint before hopping on the call too. I just smoke outside. Otherwise, if I was outside, I'd be like, "Boop, boop, 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 boop." But I'm inside, so I don't smoke
Mm.
inside. My husband is not a smoker, so I
You
respect
you know what that
his
means?
taste.
That means more for you.
That does mean more for me.
Honestly, like I find it to be a really great creative outlet. It allows me as to get into my own headspace, to get into my own mind, and
Yeah,
truth be told, nobody really needs to understand that, especially like when you create when you're not just creating something. Like I think the more time we spend doing things that we're not 100% passionate about and things that we don't love, we don't find connection. There's like this hole that builds up in a person, and you try to fill it up. Like we said earlier, like it could be alcohol, it could be pills, it could be toxic relationships, it could be a lot of different things.
sure.
Can't kill the spark. I think that should be the motto for this month is can't kill the spark.
If it kills the spark in your eye, it's not worth it.
No,
Don't kill the spark.
don't kill the spark.
Don't kill the spark.
uh, but do you think do you think that you for yourself as an artist you're going the direction that you want to, or there's something that you want to do more you haven't tried yet?
Yeah, I think everything that I'm doing currently is stuff that feels fun in the moment and in execution and stuff too. I think I'm heading towards wanting to do more stuff in acting and television and writing. So
Like
I
photo
love
shoots?
music so much, but like I'm really into cracking jokes. That's my big passion as well. And so if you ever see me live, there's like a lot of humor involved in my live performances and And so, yeah, I think I kind of have been always interested in that and feeling like why not take an acting class or two, see what happens. I've done some things here and there, and you know, you just keep doing things, and if they bring you joy, hell yeah, and if they don't, then don't do it again.
You want to be able to explore and kind of figure out what works for you, you know, and
Yeah, and it's hard because like yeah, at the end of the day, I do love making music and I want to do that all the time, but I am not finding the funding that I need to do it in a way that is like I can produce at the rate that I want to. Like I have dozens of songs that I want recorded, but it's like I just don't have the money to do it right now. And it's like, okay, one song at a time until I can get like thousands of dollars again. You know, there's some
I
money behind it.
you know what, truth be told, you bring up a really great point, and I realized this a long time too, where I realize I love cars. You know, I have this desire in art to be somebody that can be really creative in the electrical and electronic sector, and you gotta be able to not spread yourself thin, but to be able to realize where your talents can be able to give you that financial stability. It doesn't mean like you're selling out or anything. It's you want to do the thing that you love, but you need to be able to find ways to be able to support that. And
Right.
it doesn't happen overnight, you know? It doesn't happen by becoming a YouTube star. It comes from being able to find something you're passionate about and you can make a career out of it.
Yeah,
Um
totally.
and I don't know, like you don't know either. We don't know where this is going to go. Like it can go in completely different directions, you know, and you just you just got to go with the waves, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've learned too. It's like life's gonna do its thing, and you gotta just kind of be like, okay. I've learned to let go of a lot of control. I always strived to have control. And now I feel like, well, what's the worst that's gonna happen if it's not in your control? Nothing. So let it go. I'm working on it.
You know something, I think the truest thing that you can admit to yourself is every single person is going to be unique. There's no quick easy solution. There's no slap ol' diet that's going to solve all the problems. You know, you have to be able to get yourself out of your own head and realize you are worth investing in. You know, you are somebody that has these talents, you have these capabilities. And it's not that you can never get success. And maybe that is one of the purposes and the reasons why you're here in this life. But there could be other reasons. There could be
Yeah.
other things that you can work towards and be able to make something out of. Um, Never limit yourself. Honestly, I don't know. I feel.
I know I'm totally with you on that. Never limit yourself 100%. It's like I'm not just a singer. I am also a chef and a gardener and a very loving auntie and like very dorky environmental enthusiast. And that's the thing. People I think are always going to try and define you like the way they want to. And you almost can believe it, like you believe what other people think of you to be true, and it's like, oh no, 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 but people don't actually know you at all, generally speaking.
No.
And so you need to be the one to know yourself, and what they think isn't going to matter once you are in the know about your own whatever being. I'm so
It.
tired.
No, I'm sorry. Like, I think that's something that's really hard is to also be able to understand that you have limitations. And that doesn't mean that you cannot be good at certain things, or it's just that no two people are made equal. You know, and understanding sometimes you need that break. Like we were talking before, like being able to have that like moment of just being able to zone out in the boredom and being able to get into your own head. Um, I can't say this enough. You have to be comfortable in your own skin with all of your flaws. Let's be real. Like as wonderful as we are as people, we have flaws.
Uh-huh.
You know, I don't think any artist is perfect. I mean, I think we gave the greatest example of all of which about David Bowie. I mean, that man was flawed from the head down to his toes, but he made something like that every decade.
Yeah. Yeah. We are nothing if not our flaws amongst our greatnesses as well. I do feel like we've had a lovely conversation, but it is wrapping up time perhaps.
Should, and of course, I'm gonna make sure to put your link, socials and stuff below to find you. You said you have a new song that's coming out. Anything else new?
Yes, well, okay, so my new song, Hello Claire, comes out on June 20th. That's very exciting. Another new thing happening, I've got a lot of new music. I play all of it live at my live concerts usually. My next live show is in Pompano Beach, Florida, on Friday, June 13th, at Dangerous Minds Brewing. And so I've got a bunch of new songs and some new covers that I'm going to be playing there. And then hopefully I'll be back in the studio as soon as I get some more money. You know, the wedding really is a lovely and costly thing that we did. And, you know, we're going to spend the summer recouping and just being happy. And who knows what the fuck the fall and the winter will bring. And 2026 is a new year, and there's going to be new stuff. Who knows what it's going to be?
Oh no. But hey, it's gonna happen. Happen.
That's right. Thank you, Dave, for having me.
My pleasure. Well, to anybody out there, if you want to check out more of the pod, find us everywhere. And also pod, and we are on that. Yeah, pleasure.